You talked before about along the lines of the necessity to take back control of how you consume the information. There'll be some people who are watching here who like to scroll through social media. Have you got any advice for them, any tips or tricks that they could adopt to give themselves a little reminder? Because there's nothing wrong with scrolling through social media per se, providing, well, in my opinion, providing you do it in a moderated fashion, and you then go on and allow yourself not to get caught up in the vortex.
Yep. I mean, again, the biggest thing is that what we've got to be concerned with now is that we're all at home. As you can see, we're all at home. I mean, I'm operating from my my son calls it his man cave.
Right.
The office.
How old's your son?
14.
14-year-old. Very good. He's got a man cave.
He's got a man cave. But and it's all too easy to be scrolling through social media, and we do become addicted to it. So the only thing I can say right now, you try to avoid it as much as possible. Sure. There is good social media, and there's negative social media. So for me, what I do is, number one, I turn off notifications of everything that I don't want.
Good tip. Yep.
And then I turn on notifications for things that I do want.
Great.
Okay, really simple. The other one is that now, God bless Facebook, thank you. I mean, I'm glad with this little piece here. If there is someone you don't want to unfriend, but you're not liking their posts, you just mute their conversations. It's the same thing with Instagram. It's the same thing with LinkedIn. You can choose what you watch and what you don't watch. And I do that completely. I do it for my kids and I do it for myself as well.
Okay, great. A couple of good tips there. The other thing that I was thinking is you could also set a timer. So that is, you might allow yourself, so watching or scrolling through social media, you could use that as a reward. And perhaps you allow yourself a 20 or 30 minute window where you then, when the alarm goes off, there's a discipline piece to go, right, I've got my reward, and now I'm going to turn this thing off and move on. So that could be something else, perhaps.
Yep, that's a really good tip there, Tony. The other one is this. For me, I have a look at what's productive, what's not productive. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't do unproductive activity. We've got to also
unwind.
Just unwind a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just when you need to actually understand your energy levels. So, for example, I'm at my most creative in the morning. So I don't touch social media in the morning unless I'm posting for the purpose of work. But I don't respond to people. I don't do emails. I don't do any of that. And I wake up quite early. I'm a 5 o'clock riser. So I will do what's most creative at that time for me, not touch it. Good. By about 9:30 at night, there's no point. The creativity is depleted completely. So I just need to wind down, and I do allow myself a little bit of time because it's non-productive time for me. So it's understanding also when are you the most creative and when are you not creative. Don't use creative time on inane rubbish, if I can call that.
No, I understand. So it's all about self-awareness, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So if you're a morning person, leverage the morning, and if you're an evening person, leverage the evening. And then during your less productive time, that's when you want to do those less important tasks, such as scroll through social media or watch TV or whatever it might be. So great tips. Thank you, Reem. So what about your business now itself during the coronavirus? I mean, how are you coping or dealing with the coronavirus within Dreem Consulting?
Yeah, it's, again, like everyone else, we're all going to be impacted. This is a global, this is not a personal thing, okay? The coronavirus does not make it personal. This is impacting us all. It's a global epidemic. And whatever face-to-face activities I had are all gone for the moment. So right now I'm basing my entire business online. I'm just changing it, creating it as online. So for example, on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., I have a 9 a.m. free webinar for business, specifically for entrepreneurs and salespeople to hop on, so that I can help them through this critical time. The other piece is also I'm creating a 4 to 6 week online program for organizations and their employees who are sitting at home on how to become even more productive during this time and how to cope with these times. Because here's one thing I do know, okay, things are going to settle down at the very end, Tony. They after every down, the ebb and flow, after down, there has to be an up. And the question that you have to ask yourself right now as a business, regardless of the circumstances, despite what may look like the negativity, where do you want to be on that boom? Because what goes down must come up. So right now for me, it's so critical to use this time to my advantage so that when we start to come out of it, I'm booming. The business is booming. And the same thing for yourself and any other business, because it's going to come back up again. And I think if you have a look at the trajectory in Australia, and even the mathematicians are showing this, that it's not quite going in the same fashion as what it went in Europe. So I think we'll be out of this. If not that I have a crystal ball or anything, let me just preface that.
Sure.
But I think we're going to come out of it much stronger than what we believe we are going to come out of it. So you use this time productively. That's number one. Number two, again, no magic, no glass balls here, but the prediction is going to be, once we've been at home for 2 to 3 weeks, as humans, we love trading, we love commerce, we love to create. We adapt to any situation, whether you think you do right now, whether you're scared, whether you're not. And as an entrepreneur and a business owner, we are really clever. And so what will happen, things will start to settle down a little bit in that we're working from home and there's a little bit of isolation. So people will start to think about new ideas and new ways of doing business, because everyone loves to do business. And so you set yourself up beautifully with the right mindset. Don't look at the results currently right now. Just ask yourself, what do I want in 1 week? What do I want in 2 weeks? What do I want at the end of this? What does it look like for me? Where do I want to be? And start to create it now. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
So someone who is at home, Reem, great advice, by the way, someone who's at home and they're dealing, perhaps they've just lost their job, they're dealing with the stresses of not knowing how they're going to pay bills and, put food on tables, etc. So what's your advice to someone like that? How do they deal with that situation?
Yeah, this is very good, because we can't sort of hide things under the carpet here. Number one, we're very, very fortunate to be living in Australia. There's the stimulus package, and I've studied it back to front and been on the phone to accountants, and because for my also clients and for myself and for my family, the stimulus package is a really, really healthy package. Okay, it's good. It's there to support the economy while we're going through this. Number one, understand what you can do with the stimulus package. If you've currently lost your job and you don't believe you can get a job, go and register, right? With Centrelink. That's number one. Number two, there are recruiters right now, okay? There are recruiters right now who are also recruiting thousands upon thousands of roles during this time. Like Centrelink, for example, is putting on thousands of roles for admin assistants. We've heard about Coles. You've got Domino. What's it called? The pizza place.
Delivery. Yeah, Domino's delivery. You've got cleaners. You've got health departments. There's certainly plenty of opportunities. I agree.
There's a lot of opportunities, but what you want to do first of all is understand what situation are you currently in. Now, for mortgages, you can freeze your mortgage if you need to. You do everything that you possibly need to do so that your business and you strive, whether it's from work or it's your business or whether it's your employment, you strive. So a few companies are actually standing down their employees right now. They're not doing the firing or anything like that. They're just standing down. So it's temporary. So ask yourself, what do I need to do to help myself and my family in this short period of time?
Yep. Okay. Fantastic. Good advice. What about just dealing with anxiety? All right. So just generally, right?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling, not me personally, but if I'm someone out there who's feeling incredibly anxious, what would be some tips or some strategies to deal with anxiety that you could offer?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Anxiety is going to be a big one right now because, again, the amount of information that we're consuming, and it whether we like it or not, some people have said to me, it doesn't impact me. I say, sort of consume that information enough and it will impact you. It doesn't matter who you are. So first thing with this sort of thing, if you're feeling a little bit anxious, is just acknowledge it. I would, this is for anyone. This is for all of us. Just acknowledge it. It's normal. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with you. Okay. The second one then is, because anxiety, look, it's the way that we're thinking that's allowing the feelings to be ignited. So you go back to, I always draw sort of a stick figure and I say, well, what are you currently thinking? And what images are you building that's allowing you to go through this feeling process?
So just say that again so that we can just say that again for us.
So I would go backwards. Okay. So here's how it works. The way that you're feeling will sort of dictate how you act. So whichever way you are feeling, go back and ask yourself, what am I thinking? What images am I building? And then what we do is we want to replace We want to replace those thoughts. So let me give you an example. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job. You haven't lost your job yet. So why are you thinking in that method? Like, we're living day by day right now. Why are you thinking like that? Or let's just say you have lost your job, because a lot of people have. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my rent. Why are you thinking like that? Let's just go back. I would be thinking, let me go to Centrelink. Let me see what jobs are out there. Let me freeze my mortgage. Let me freeze certain things. What can I do? So you start to build on what is in my control and what's not in my control.
I love it.
Now, but I need to preface this. There's anxiety and there's anxiety. If you're feeling an enormous amount of anxiety, we need to see a specialist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm a business coach. So what you want to do is contact the right people, and there's a whole host of different numbers, and you just Google it, or ask your work or your business to actually help you out to get in contact with the right person.
Beyond Blue, Lifeline, there's those sorts of community services as well. Terrific. And it's a good point that you make, Reem, that you and I both are not clinical psychologists, but we have a number of strategies. So something else for people who are concerned around anxiety is breathing. Breathing is incredibly important. It slows everything down by breathing. Exercise is a great thing. You know, if you're feeling anxious, now this doesn't have to be a 5-kilometre run. It's movement. Tony Robbins talks about motion creates emotion. So when you move a little bit, then it just helps change the way that you're feeling, change your state. Meditate is another great one if people are of that way inclined. And what I practice, what I encourage people to practice, Reem, is a form of mindfulness meditation where, anxiety is into the future, where that is I'm worried about something into the future, and depression is I'm worried about something that's already gone, whereas mindfulness is the here and now. And it's all about stopping. It's the old saying of stop and smell the roses. We don't do that enough. It's about just slowing everything down, smelling the roses, and being really appreciative for the fact that you've got some roses, or whatever it might be. I'm using that terminology, but it's just slow everything down and being concentrating on the here and now.
Yes, and one final thing with that's really, really good. All of those I practice myself. It's the gratitude piece. I can send you the link after this to share with your team. There is it's called the Gratitude Choir right now. 10 minutes every single morning that it's on. And what happens is that with gratitude, so it's if you wake up in the morning and you do your gratitude piece, so you write down 10 things that you're truly grateful for. It's very, very hard to go into a state of negativity when you finally work out what you truly, like, you have to feel it though. This is not like I'm grateful for my coffee and blah, blah, blah. It's really, so this is what I say to people right now. If you've got a roof over your head and you have great health, and you can put food in your mouth, we should be incredibly grateful, because here we are living in Australia, not on top of each other, okay, being looked after, as opposed to think of because again, this is a global pandemic. Think of what's happening in other countries with other people who are less fortunate.
There's a lot of people doing it worse off than us, isn't there?
It's
very easy to get caught up in our own situation, our own problems, and I understand that and can empathise with those people. But it's also a case of recognising that we've got a lot of great things that we can be happy for here in Australia, even in the face of doom and gloom. The thing I was thinking too as you were talking, it's the old adage of, glass half full, glass half empty. It's the meaning that we place on things, right? So whereas a lot of people are looking at the current situation as being glass half empty, there's doom and gloom, the sky's caving in, whereas there's other people who are saying, well, hey, there's glass half full. There's opportunity everywhere, and how do I set my business up for success?
Well, it's funny you should say that, Tony, because a lot of the clients that I've been working with have said to me, thank God we've been doing the mindset piece for such a long time together, as well as a strategy. Because had this happened, say, 2-3 years ago, I don't know if I would have managed through it. Whereas now I'm feeling like it will be okay, because it will be okay. This too shall pass. We have to preface that as well. We have to, this too shall pass, and we will be okay. We will be more than okay. We're actually going to boom out of this. We're going to come out of this strongly. And that's that glass half empty, half full again. It's just a very, very interesting time to see. Some people, it's so beautiful to watch. Some people in any situation will thrive.
Mm. Mm.
Okay. Now, there is difficulties. There's some real difficulties. I'm not
Yes.
saying there isn't. There's some real adjustment, but we can also start to create what it is that we want. I take this like if we're at home, if you're sitting at home and you've got more time than what you've had before, it's a great time to reflect and start writing down what it is that you really want. Out of this whole experience, what we've learned is there's a lot of things that we do that are inane and not needed. We just do them.
Mm. Mm.
And we haven't missed them one little bit.
Mm.
And they have meant nothing.
Mm.
So what does that teach us?
Mm.
And now the question is going to be, when we come out of this, are we going to go back to those habits which we wasted our time, or are we going to create new ones to make us even stronger?
So give me an example of what some of those habits could be, because I could sense the passion coming out in your voice, and I'm sure the listeners and watchers could have sensed it as well. So give me an example of some of those things that you feel now are innate, or perhaps may be redundant moving forward, that we've been doing because we've always done them, but this time in history is causing us to really stop and think about the things that we're doing.
Well, two things. Let's have a look at, prior to this, we all thought there's no way we could operate outside of the home. We had to be physically in the office.
Mm.
There are some companies right now who are thriving as a result of this. And one of my clients said to me, oh my God, it's perfect. I just roll out of bed, go have a shower, and I'm in my office. Mm. And she's being so productive and still talking to clients. And she's a salesperson. Mm. And I went, wow, that's amazing. Isn't it interesting? Because up to 6 months ago, people were saying, no, you can't do that. It's impossible to do that. Well, it's not. And we've got Zoom now to contact people. Up until recently, people going, no, it's not this. It's not quite the same. Yet when you're forced to do it,
you do it.
You do it, and you do it beautifully, and we learn from it, right? So all of a sudden, everyone's really getting excited. But the other one is like meetings for the sake of meetings. Let's just talk about this for a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Our diaries were packed with one meeting after the other, back to back, and then we were going home and doing all the work. And we were stressed out. And the question now is going to be, like, did we need all those meetings in our workplace? Could we have done them at the hour meetings? Could they have been done in 15 minutes? People are becoming quite autonomous. So they are doing work and they are producing. So was that actually needed? Or were we just generating work because we wanted to feel busy? Let's be honest with ourselves.